What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Trust the Bank podcast. We have Joshua, and this is the middle between week 3 and week 4. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the New England Patriots victory. We're going to be talking about, MVP Lamar Jackson, talking about that defense. Also, I think we really like it. I started posting on Twitter and started posting on, the YouTube community, kind of asking, hey, what are some things you want us to talk about? We have some great questions from some people over on there, including Yolanda, Death to Beta, and more. So we'll be definitely answering those questions, talking about those topics as well. So if you guys ever have topics you want us to talk about, maybe it's not even about week 3 or that previous week or the next week, and you're just like, hey, let's talk about this player. I'm concerned about him. Let's talk about him. We will definitely do that. So thank you to everyone, that commented those things. But, then obviously we'll get into that Bills preview. But Joshua, Ravens defeated the Patriots 37-26. It got a little dicey in that fourth quarter, right? We're leading by 11, I believe, going into the fourth quarter. And it's like, okay, here we go. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. They're kind of driving. This is looking reminiscent of week 2. Let's not have that happen. And then we started to get the turnovers. Joshua, what was your thought about that game, having some time to digest it?
I mean, honestly, man, when you saw the fourth quarter, you see the way the New England Patriots have been moving the ball and the way our defense was responding. You do get worrisome, but I mean, hey, that's what the Ravens do. They get you worrisome, whether we up by 20 or we're down by 30, trying to make our comeback. So I mean, being a Ravens fan, you're gonna have your highs, you're gonna have your lows. So you just got to be able to to stay with them. But I definitely felt like this week that just passed, it wasn't going to be a repeat of what happened against Miami. The whole change of tide for that defense of getting 4 turnovers in the second half, that's what really changed things up for us. So, knowing that, yes, we're going to have teams that score on us, but our defense stood strong enough to win the game. And our offense, they're going to do what our offense does, which is score points. So, I mean, it was an all-around effort. And that's what we're asking for. When we know it's going to come together sooner rather than later. So I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in this game, we were able to see those consistent long drives. I felt like in Miami, there were a lot of 3 and outs, and the Ravens did have some 3 and outs. They had 2, I'll say 2 true 3 and outs. They had 3 plays to end the game, taking the knees. Lamar had the interception thrown on third down. I believe it was on third down. It was on the third play of the drive. And then the Ravens had the Rashad Bateman fumble, which ended their drive, which was it a fumble? I'm not upset at the call that it was a fumble. It's just one of those bang, bang. They could have called it incomplete. They could have called it on a fumble. You're just going to go with. Yeah. Honestly, I think the refs got it kind of right because from their perspective on the field, he had it for a really long time, and his body was kind of really just wrapped in with the defender's body, and then the ball kind of popped out. So for them, they're like, he's taking like 4 steps, then the ball popped out. But in reality, you get that other angle, and you're like, the ball's kind of bouncing around between their 2 bodies, and it falls out. But you know what? The start of the game, I was a little bit nervous, right? Because they started with the 3 and out, and then they got the touchdown, then they got a 3 and out again. And I was like, okay, we need to stop with this because you don't want to be one of those offenses because the Ravens right now, the defense is struggling. The defense, this is one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL. Like the New England Patriots are bottom 5 in terms of offense. They put up 7 week 1 against the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a good defense. They don't have the best defense, but they have a pretty good defense. The Steelers, they play minus TJ Watt, which is a big difference. With TJ Watt, I think they're the best defense in the NFL. Without TJ Watt, it's like, okay, they're pretty good. Like now they're outside the top 10. They put up 14. They go against the Rams, they drop 26. And Mac Jones was looking like, I mean, he had Devontae Parker. It looked like Brady and Moss throwing to each other. So it's like, okay, the Ravens need to make sure they can string together drives so that they can control the game. Yeah. Because when the Ravens are controlling the game, when Lamar Jackson dictates what the opponents have to do, which he did a lot in the second half, that's when this team is scary. It was just, an unfortunate turnover on the interception. And then they had the other fumble. Again, unfortunate turnover, by Rashad Bateman. So overall in this game, I thought it was very well executed. I got to give props. I really felt like Greg Roman did call a great game. I was not yelling at the TV. And I think it's funny because a lot of people get mad at me for the Roman slander that I put out, and I've always been like, guys, I will give Greg Roman props when he does well. Do I like Greg Roman? No. Do I still think he should be fired? Yeah, probably. But he did good. He called a good game. I felt like the creativity inside the 10-yard line was there, and it was like, wow, this is what they should be doing with Lamar Jackson. It's kind of frustrating that it took him, you know, a year, 2 years to figure it out. But it's like, hey, get Lamar Jackson to drop back, get him to throw the ball inside the 10-yard line. Remember, Lamar Jackson, up until the Buffalo Bills playoff game, was yet to throw an interception in the red zone. I believe was the stat. Then I believe he threw a pick six in that game. So we don't want to talk about it too much. But it was like Lamar dices in that red zone because he knows if he can't throw the ball, if people are covered, he can run and get a couple of yards. And when you're in the red zone, you only need a couple of yards. So he was able to throw the ball. He was able to call a good Lamar Jackson run play. I just felt like it was a very well executed game plan from the jump on the offensive side of the ball. But Joshua, we talked about this in the pregame show. We talked about this in the podcast recording last week. What do the Ravens have to do on offense? They have to run the ball. How do you think they did at just fulfilling that, kind of fix that we proposed, which is kind of obvious? Oh, run the ball well. Everybody should run the ball well. But this is really important to the Ravens. How did they do running the ball?
It got better. It got better. And honestly, shout out to J.K. Dobbins. Yes, it was his first game in 20 games. I'm assuming it's been a while. It's been a while for him. But he played like he never lost a step. He played like he never was out this long. And it was good to see him back out there. And also, I gotta give some respect to the guy that we've had in the facility for a while. That's now, I don't know what it is. One game he wants to run east and west. The next game he wants to run north and south. But when he broke it for that 30, 40 yard, I was like, wow, this is beautiful. In between, I think it was in between the tackles or in between the guards. And he took it to the outside, made a nice little move. And, juke. And I said, wow, Justice Hill is playing like Justice Hill from Oklahoma State. Did it take this long for us to finally see that in this gem that we thought we had? So I mean, sometimes flowers, and sometimes the flowers do bloom a little later. So it could be one of those type of situations. But it's glad to see that he's getting on board, finally using his vision and finally using his speed in the correct way, and it's helping a lot. We talked about it. The better our running backs are, it takes away from the design runs. The design runs are more of a surprise element to teams because they're not expecting it. Because Lamar Jackson is dropping back. I believe our pass ratio is higher than our run ratio right now. So when he does the VAR or the our RPOs, it keeps a defense on their toes, and it's more unexpected versus it being planned. Now you have to, as JK get more acclimated, once we get Gus Edwards back, defenses are going to have to start respecting the run game even more because we're doing what we thought was going to be our weak point, which is passing the ball efficiently. Yes, we are seeing some of the routes where guys are kind of still in the same place a little bit, but there is a little bit of more creativity. The ball is getting, distributed to almost everybody on the field. It's looking beautiful. I mean, hell, we even saw our defensive tackle slash fullback slash tight end, take it up the field, So I can't do too much. But say, Gregory, you did coach a good game. I mean, he does that against mid-tier teams, though. We do have Buffalo coming up this week, and Buffalo's kind of pissed that Tua Tagovailoa that got cleared from a concussion came back in the game and won the game. So we saw a little bit in the vault. We saw the running backs getting hot. We gotta ride this momentum. We gotta ride this wave with Buffalo this upcoming week.
Yeah, momentum is definitely a thing that the Ravens and Lamar Jackson have thrived on. They are a team where when things are going, they're going, and then all of a sudden things start to get bad, and they get really bad. And speaking about the run game, Justice Hill, I think he was great, and I love looking at the numbers, and I love looking just a step further because I think a lot of people always they look at you know how many yards per carry did they get overall, and they look at the stats. And we talked about it in week 2. The Ravens yards per carry, they looked really good. It was like five plus yards per carry. And then I'm like, hold on, let's take out the one play that was for 80 yards, and it was like, wow, they averaged 3.1 yards per carry outside of that one play. Saquon Barkley early in his career. Saquon's massively talented. I like Saquon. I love watching Saquon. He's had a bad offensive line, so I'm not trying to blame Saquon. The offensive line was bad, and it was like Saquon would be rushing, and it would be the fourth quarter, and he's got 14 rushes for 30 yards. Bad rushing game, and then boom, breaks one for 70 yards, and it's like, oh wow, look at that. 15 rushes, 100 yards. And so it looks a lot better. So I did the same thing with Justice Hill because I was like, okay, Justice Hill had that big run. 6 carries, 60 yards. His long was 34. You take that out, take out that one long run, he's averaging over 5 yards a carry, even without that long run. So that shows to me the consistency that he was able to get up the field. And so I feel like he definitely took a big step, in that aspect. I think maybe the Ravens – I think they kind of figured out, hey, let's stop trying to get him to the outside because he's trying to get that full angle to the outside. Maybe if we just put him up the middle, maybe that's going to help get rid of that tendency because he's going to see that and he's going to be like, I can't go left or right. Let me get up the field, and then I'll move around the linebacker. And I think it's working out pretty well. So definitely something to keep an eye out for if they're able to continue kind of doing that because he's been, someone that's been pretty good. When he gets an open space, he's good. He's just got to make sure he can get to that open space and not make that open space at the line of scrimmage, make it at the linebacker level, kind of like how Lamar Jackson does. So I definitely agree. The run game definitely worked for the Ravens. I loved Lamar Jackson in this game running the football because, like you said, Joshua, it doesn't have to be every time. We don't need all these just true designed runs. I think this game is going to make teams be like, okay, we do have, the way the last 2 weeks have gone, it's like, okay, we do have to watch out for that Lamar Jackson veer. We have to watch out for those Lamar Jackson designed runs.
Yeah.
But the Ravens don't call read option every play. But because Lamar Jackson is taking these runs a little bit more over the last couple of weeks, which I'm fine with, those linebackers, Von Miller, against Buffalo this week, Von Miller, if he's on the outside, Gregory Rousseau on the outside, they may hesitate at that snap, at that handoff, because they may be like, I got to stop Lamar. And Lamar may have zero chance of running that ball because he's like, I'm not running this ball. I'm handing this to Jake. I'm handing this to Justice Hill. They're getting this football. So I'm just going to hand it off. But they don't know that. And so that threat of Lamar Jackson running takes a linebacker out of the play a lot of the time, and that's able to help that run game a little bit more. And then, the other thing that we see is Lamar Jackson getting the ball down the field to these wide receivers, to these tight ends, and he is trying to extend the play. We got 3 players with a 20-yard reception. Now, Rashad Bateman's was – a 10-yard, 15-yard throw, whatever it was, throw to the outside of the numbers, which was a very good throw. If you actually analyze that throw, very good. Lamar looks off to the side, hesitates. I think it was a linebacker, could have been a corner, but he was basically playing in that, middle of the field spot, hesitates him, throws to the left on that curl route. Bateman catches it. Guy can't get his hands out because Lamar was able to hesitate him. Bateman catches it. I still don't understand the Bateman's afraid of contact thing. Bateman is very good with the ball in his hands. I don't understand it. Like, he's not going to try and truck linebackers. Like, I think people want everyone to be like Deebo Samuel. And it's like, okay, Deebo Samuel gets hurt all the time, and he's always playing injured because he's trying to truck these linebackers, and he's a great player. But Bateman is not the size of Deebo Samuel. Like, if he's trying to truck through every player, like, he's not going to be able to do that. He's not A.J. Brown. He's not Deebo. Duvernay can do that. Duvernay is built like that. Yeah. He's thick. He is ready. Bateman is skinny. He's a great route runner. He's the Keenan Allen type. Keenan Allen's not running over people, but he's got wiggle and he's able to juke people out. So shout out to him for that. But Lamar's throwing the ball down the field. He's throwing the ball up to Mark Andrews. And he attempted that big throw to Rashad Bateman. Just missed it. Both of them just missed it. Not 100% blame. either way around. It was just a really close play. A
Yeah.
little bit more chemistry, they get that down. That's a threat. That's a threat to other teams because Bateman, it looks like, oh man, Bateman didn't have a good game because he had, what, 2 receptions, 59 yards, but he also had the fumble. And it's like, okay, he really wasn't a factor. Okay, he wasn't a factor. And then at the end of that game, Bateman was the guy. It wasn't Mark Andrews at the end of the game. It was, let's give the ball to Bateman. And unfortunately, the fumble happened, but it was like, oh, let's hit Bateman deep. And he just missed it. It wasn't like a Hollywood.
Yo, that was gonna be a walk in the park type situation. If he just got under just a little more, or either it's like I feel like without the ball, Rashad Bateman has good speed. He can separate, but he can't separate just yet like a Hollywood because still corners are a little bit draped on him. So that's why I think Lamar puts it out there a little farther so Rashad can just make that spectacular catch in a sense. But at the same time, I'm pretty sure if I'm Rashad Bateman, I want to play a full season. I don't want to get hurt again. I'm being safe than sorry. And at that point, I can't do nothing but respect that from both my quarterback and my wide receiver. My quarterback is putting it where he thinks the wide receiver should be. The wide receiver is trying to make an attempt, but at the same time, it was a little overthrown to him. But they're going to get
I
it.
would rather have that pass than a true jump ball because Jalen Mills had good coverage and Lamar put it where only Bateman can catch it, and it was just out of the fingertip. Could Lamar have made a better throw? Yes, he could have thrown it 4 inches closer to Rashad Bateman, and it's probably a catch. But you can't ask for that type of accuracy. It's better than Lamar going, okay, I'm going to throw this, up in the air when Rashad Bateman's got to go moss. And he was like, no. If Bateman has the step and he's able to get those arms out, then he can catch it. But I don't want to have the ball intercepted, right? I don't want to turn the ball over, with the momentum, playing at Foxborough, because I believe the Baltimore Ravens had never won at New England. Or maybe at least John Harbaugh had never won at New England or something like that, which is kind of crazy to me in the regular season. Because I think the Ravens have definitely won in, shout out to the Super Bowl year. They won that one. But I think in the regular season, I don't know if they've ever won in Foxborough. I saw a stat that said like 0-6, and I'm assuming regular season, which I always hate. And people are like, oh, yeah, this guy's never beaten this guy, except for in the playoffs. And it's like, okay, whatever. But Lamar put it in a spot, and he was like, I'm not going to throw a pick. If he gets it, he gets it. Otherwise, we got Jordan Stout. Otherwise, we still have opportunities. Let's not turn the ball over. So I'm fine with that incompletion, but it's still taking the shot. And Bateman was still that go-to guy down the stretch. Yeah. And that showed – and Devin Duvernay, Devin Duvernay's I need that jump ball. And Lamar's kind of getting that chemistry with him. We saw it develop last year against Minnesota. I believe he had that great one-handed reaching back touchdown catch. We're starting to see that chemistry. The Lamar chemistry with the wide receivers is starting to get there, and it's starting to show. And that's scary for these other teams because they're going to have to react to them and be like, oh, no, we can't just say stop the run because Lamar's now not just going, oh, I have to throw it to Mark. On third down, he goes, oh, yeah, I got Duvernay on the sideline. Oh, I'm going to run for the ball. Oh, I'm going to hit Bateman on a curl route, and he'll break it for 30 yards. So a lot of different options this team has.
And you know what else is going to be another key ingredient that's being missed right now? JP2. Like, people really forget this young man got hands. This young man is a good route runner. My player comp for him is Sterling Shepard, Victor Cruz, Sterling Shepard. They had good feet work, not the fastest guys, but they had great hands. When they get the ball, they can make something happen. And they all three of them built the same way, just about. Strong, not tall guys, but they play big. And once James Prochet gets out there with Devin Duvernay and Rashad Bateman, plus Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, J.K. coming out the backfield, DeMarcus Robinson, hell, they might even throw Riley Webb in there once or twice. Who knows? I mean, I'm going to keep on saying it every episode we record, every time we go live. I trust this wide receiver group more than I trust the 2019 wide receiver group any day. And this is more of an unknown group. We
Absolutely.
Baltimore fans just know them. Nobody else really know these guys outside of Rashad Bateman or Demarcus Robinson. Nobody else knows Devin Duvernay. Nobody else knows James Prochet. It's beautiful to see.
And I wanted to pull something up because Lamar Jackson last year got beat by the Blitz. That's how the Dolphins were able to beat him. This is Warren Sharp, Warren Sharp Analytics. If you guys used to watch First Take with Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman loved Warren Sharp. He always throw out the Warren Sharp numbers. This is Lamar Jackson against the Blitz. He's over here on the right side. He's this red dot. This is every quarterback over the last 10 years against the Blitz. The y-axis is non-blitzed plays.
Uh-huh.
X-axis is blitzed and their success. And Lamar Jackson is way further out than any other quarterback in the last 10 years. And that's because he has these wide receivers. That's because he's able to throw these passes and he's able to make that work. And then, you can see the overall teams. This is all the teams so far just this season. Again, look at who he's with, right? Rodgers, Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Burrow. This is Money Mitch. So shout out to Money Mitch. But like almost all of these quarterbacks are very good quarterbacks. And Lamar Jackson is just making them all look fantastic. And then, right, you look at the bad quarterbacks in the NFL, Baker, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's no longer the same guy. Justin Fields has no wide receivers. Mac Jones, not good. Look at Tua. Look at Mariota, Davis Mills, Jacoby Brissett, Kirk Cousins. A lot of just poor quarterback play. They're on the left side. All the really good quarterbacks, or the majority of the really good quarterbacks, are over here on the right side. Also, I'd love to see Brady not on the right side. Fantastic. But I just want to show that because I saw that and I was like, wow, this is showing that this is different. This passing game is different. They are able to do things that over the last couple of years they have not been able to do, right? Because it seems like, if they're in a 3rd and long situation, teams are like, we're fine. Just blitz Lamar, and he's not going to be able to get the ball out quick enough. And this year, it's like you blitz Lamar, and he's going to just – where did the blitz come from? You blitzed your corner? Boom. I'm going to hit the guy where the blitz just came from. The only problem I've seen out of Lamar Jackson this year, the only issue, batted balls. Like it seems like a lot of times on 3rd down, it's like teams are getting those swats on him. And it's like, that's it. Like, that's the only negative that you can really look at. He's made a couple of bad throws. The one that almost got picked by Xavier Howard. But overall, it's like the only thing that I would say is my problem with Lamar this year is, hey, he's thrown a lot of passes that have gotten batted down in 3rd down. But that's not even necessarily his fault. Those are just great plays by the defense. So,
yeah, absolutely. I feel like sometimes he definitely tries to make something out of nothing. I mean, those first 2 interceptions that he's had this year, it just, the first one was like an underthrow, and that second one last week, he pretty much tried to squeeze that one in. I mean, as a competitor, I know you want to do some great things. You're already doing great things, and you're going to keep on doing that in your career. As you stay healthy and you keep on balling out as you do. Just continue playing smart, Lamar. We love you, man. we know you trying to get to it. Just keep playing your game, bro. So yeah, I ain't got too much talk, man. Every Sunday, Monday, Thursday that he put his cleats on and get ready to play for us, man, the price continues to go up. So shout out to this organization. Hopefully they're stacking up their bread when this off season comes.
100%. And now, okay, I think we've done the discussion on the Patriots game. Let's talk